We're going to be talking about quite a few altcoin setups in this video, which would include Solana, Monero, and Fetch.AI. However, we cannot talk about altcoins without talking about Bitcoin first because it is the driver of this crypto market. I never trade altcoins without a clear understanding of Bitcoin because you could have a bullish looking setup on your altcoins. However, if Bitcoin looks bearish on similar timeframes, that could really drag quite a bit of these altcoins down with it. Okay, so this is the Bitcoin chart on the 12-hour time frame, and why is this significant? It's because Bitcoin has had quite a bit of a short-term run-up here, right? And it has hit basically all your shorter time frame moving averages. The last one it hit was the 12-hour 21 SMA, which has not been touched on this run-up. So I do expect that to be pretty strong support because every time you touch a resistance or support for the first time, it's usually going to be a bounce or a rejection. Okay, so this time it's a support, so I would expect a bounce. I did talk about on the hourly time frame yesterday that there was a falling wedge pattern, but that did get invalidated, and I recharted the pattern, and now we have a bigger falling wedge pattern that Bitcoin looks like it's actually breaking out from. Okay, now the measure target for this falling wedge pattern here is going to be about 94,000. All right, so that is basically what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. There's quite a bit of bullish divergence, as well as other bullish signals playing out for Bitcoin. Okay, including bullish divergence on the daily time frame that has been playing out for quite some time. We're on the monthly 21 SMA for Bitcoin, which is a major deal because we have not been on that moving average as support for a long time. So we are getting that very strong reaction here. Now, if you guys do want to learn how to chart, the best way to do it is with TradingView. I've been using TradingView for the last 6+ years, and that basically took me from a newbie to basically where I am right now, sharing my insights with you guys on this channel. And never would I have thought that would have happened. Okay, when I started out, everything was so confusing. But once you get to know the indicators that you want to use, I've been using, a very simple and clean setup. My RSI is basically one of my key indicators. And if you guys want to learn how to chart as well, if you guys are new to they do have free plans available. But if you guys sign up using my affiliate link, they do have $15 off for you guys for a paid plan. So check that out, and I will get a commission. Let's go ahead and take a look into some. We're also going to zoom out a little bit here. I just want to give you guys more of an overview on Bitcoin as well. So I have also updated this chart on the 3-day time frame since I have taken out quite a bit of. I have cleared out quite a bit of trend lines here, and this is a double bottom pattern on the 3-day time frame here. Okay, with the resistance to be about 95,000. Okay, I'm just going to say 95,000. That would be about the resistance here. Okay, and the measure target is going to be about 105,000. That could be very good for the altcoins if Bitcoin has more room to go up. Now, I am long on quite a bit of altcoins here, so my opinions and outlook on this market is bullish in general. Okay, so, however, these are just my opinions. It's not financial advice. You guys got to come to your own conclusions. But what I'm seeing here is a more likely to an upside, a rebound here for Bitcoin. I am looking for some resistance at about the 100,000 level, of course. That is a big round number, as well as that's very close to where the weekly 50 SMA is at as well. So that is going to be resistance, okay? So that is basically what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and take a look into some news that could affect the markets before taking a look into altcoin setups, okay? So first piece of news here is by Cointelegraph. It says BlackRock adds $900 million in Bitcoin as Bitcoin long-term selling falls to 2017 lows. So I am seeing a little bit of a contradictory news here on TradingView as well, because one piece here says Bitcoin falls below $90,000 as ETF outflows hit most since November. Now, it sounds kind of contradictory to each other, so I'm wondering which one could be true. I am more leaning towards Cointelegraph because that's more of a credible source than this one. So, I mean, and it also makes sense with what we're seeing here on the charts because Bitcoin has been running up, right? It has been bouncing back. So I think I'm going to probably lean more towards trusting this piece of news here. Now, some key takeaways, okay? BlackRock added nearly $900 million worth of Bitcoin in the first week of January, rebuilding exposure after an end of 2025 drawdown. Okay, that is significant because 2025, we really didn't get too far with crypto. Okay, now, the second point here is that long-term Bitcoin holders are selling at their lowest rates since 2017, despite elevated prices. Well, that sounds good. Okay. Now, on-chain data pointed to a possible accumulation phase among certain wallet cohorts. Okay. All right. Sorry, that is an alert. Okay. Let me zoom this out real quick. Yeah, it is very important to have alerts. Okay, because I can't keep track of all the charts here. Okay, at least that died down on its own. All right. Let's go ahead and go to the next piece here. All right, the next one is by Coinpedia. Bitcoin price and the Clarity Act vote. 100,000 by January 15th. That is a big question. Okay. Now, this one is saying that January 15th is where the U.S. Senate Banking Committee is scheduled to vote on the crypto market structure bill known as the Clarity Act. Now, one of my viewers have brought up to me about why no one has, I mean, very few people have actually mentioned about the Clarity Act on crypto. Now, reading more closer into this, this sounds very good for crypto because it is designed to curb market manipulation. Okay, by banning wash trading. I'm probably going to read a little bit more details on that, and let's see if there's going to be any tax implications for individual traders, right? And fake volume, okay, like spoofing, right? As well as a few other very key things here, like providing proof of reserves and regular audits, right? If you guys remember what happened back in 2022, what the whole FTX thing happened, right? That basically, I mean, that basically happened because no one was really auditing them or close enough. Okay, so this would really help prevent that from, will actually limit that from happening again. Okay, so that sounds really good for people who just want more clarity, right? And security about where they're trading on specifically. Okay, so that sounds really good. Okay, I'm gonna be giving you guys an update on this whenever I see news that come out. But yeah, very few people have actually mentioned about this. All right, next one is by you today. Bitcoin to 60,000 or 250,000. Key price target shaping Bitcoin 2026 outlook. Are there any key points here I can actually point out? But if there's not, you guys can read more about this. I still do think that we are more likely to be making higher highs this year. Okay. Um, if not, I still do think that we're probably going to be rebounding to at least 130,000 this year. Okay, that's conservative. So I do think that it is more likely that we're going to be rebounding from here than going down to 60,000 because we have actually broken above a certain scenario I've been telling you guys about. I've cleared up those trend lines, but I've told you guys about it. You guys can look at it in my Bitcoin videos for the past couple of weeks, okay? All right, let's go ahead and go to Solana because I've been talking about Solana. And why is that? It's because it's one of the bigger altcoins, okay, that have been, I mean, that hasn't really been taking that much of a hit. If you guys been comparing this chart to some of those smaller altcoin charts, right? It's still been in a range of like just slightly below $100 to about $300, which is, I mean, it's a lot of range, but I mean, I've seen a lot of these smaller altcoins go down like 80, 90%. Okay, so it's not like that, right? So Solana, I talked about on the 3-day time frame here, it has actually broken out of this falling wedge pattern, so it looks very similar to Ethereum's chart, right? And the price target for this breakout is going to be about just right above $190 here for Solana, which is still a pretty big target for a bigger altcoin here. It's not gonna have that volatility that you're gonna see in some of these smaller altcoins, but price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less. A lot of which, in the case of these altcoins, does depend on what happens with Bitcoin. So always got to be paying attention to Bitcoin first. Now, there is a sub scenario for Solana here. What I'm talking about is this on the daily time frame, that after the breakout here, there could be somewhat of a cup and handle pattern that could be forming. This is not a formed cup and handle yet, but the resistance I'm looking for is going to be about $148, right? If it comes back to retest $148, this could form a cup and handle pattern. I'll update you guys on Solana if enough of you guys want to see it. So make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. All right, let's go ahead and go to Monero. Okay, Monero here. So this is XMR, and I've talked about the weekly time frame from XMR, which is going to be a time frame that is going to be very important to be paying attention to, because Monero has been trying to avoid this rising wedge scenario. Rising wedges are bearish patterns that have a higher chance to break to the downside. If you guys actually take a look into the past few major breakdowns for Bitcoin, it's usually preceded by a rising wedge pattern, so some things to be paying attention to. However, Monero here has been trying to avoid this breakdown. It is trying to break out to the upside here. A confirmation that this has actually broken to the upside here will be a weekly candle above this upper trend line. So, for example, if it was to actually break out by this week, a confirmation would be a solid weekly candle above $495. I'm gonna say, just to for rounded sake. Okay. Now, if it does not break, if you don't get a strong move out of Monero this week, and you end up anywhere between just right above $470, that is not going to be a good sign. Why is that? Is because I'm looking at the RSI here. If you don't get a strong move here and you get an equal or higher close than the week of December 15th, then you're going to get bearish divergence, which is a weakness signal, which is a reversal signal where you're usually going to expect, or you could usually expect, a pullback or even a dump. Okay, so trying to avoid this bearish scenario. If not, you're going to see more downside coming from Monero. Okay, now let's just zoom in a little bit, because it has broken out of a smaller falling wedge pattern here on the daily time frame. The price target here is going to be about 500 and just right above $510 here. Let's see if Monero gets a strong break here. But looks like it is on the move right now. So major test coming from Monero. Let's go ahead and go to Fetch.AI. Fetch.AI here on the weekly time frame. I've been talking about this with you guys. Okay, this is a huge falling wedge pattern, and this is probably going to be a chart. This is going to be a very similar chart as what you guys will see with a lot of altcoins that have data going back to April or March of last year, because that was basically the last real bullish trend that has ran for a couple of months, right? And since then, you haven't really gotten a trend like that, okay, that has extended for equal or longer periods of time. Now, Fetch.AI has broken out of this falling wedge pattern just last week, okay? very low-key breakout. Nothing has really happened yet, but it is a trend break, which is significant. Now, price target for this breakout here is going to be about almost $3. Now, that is an estimate, okay? Very important to be paying attention to Bitcoin. Now, there is going to be quite a bit of moving averages on this weekly time frame to be noting as resistance because markets or price action is likely to pull back from resistances because that's where traders are likely to take profits. You got your weekly 21 SMA at about 39 cents, weekly 50 SMA at about 55 cents right now. They are moving averages, so got to keep an eye on them. Now, weekly 200 SMA is about 68 cents, the orange line. Let's take a look into a smaller time frame here, and also why you guys gotta learn technical analysis because they work a lot of times, and that will really stack the odds in your favor and increase your success rate of trading profitably. Okay, like with these falling wedge patterns, they are bullish patterns that have a higher chance of breaking to the upside, and that's what you guys are seeing here. They're more likely to they have been breaking to the upside more likely than not. Like this one here, on the daily time frame, talked about on the daily time frame here for Fetch.AI. Price target for this breakout here is going to be about 36 cents, so that's pretty close. What I'm really looking at here for the resistance for Fetch.AI is going to be about that 46 cents resistance. That's where it last got rejected about on November 8th, right? And that is also going to be where the daily 200 SMA is going to be looking like it's gonna slowly approach. Okay, if it retests that resistance two more times and it does not flop, then that could look like a cup and handle pattern. So this basically wraps it up for these altcoins: Fetch.AI, Monero, Solana. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of them or any other coins in this market by dropping a like, comment, subscribe. I am looking at charts all day, so if there's an update, chances are I'm going to be the first one to bring you guys the update. I'll see you guys on the next one.